positioning was the only reason that we were able to really get the credit cards out on a consistent basis, in my opinion.
Hey, podcast listener, you're about to discover insider tips, tricks, and secrets to making more sales and converting more prospects into customers with email marketing. For more information about the Email Marketing Podcast or the Autoresponder Guide, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Okay, it's John McIntyre, the Autoresponder Guide. It's time for episode 62 of the McMethod Email Marketing Podcast. Now, this is the podcast where you'll discover, step-by-step tactics and strategies that one listener used to make over $85,000 in just 5 months. That's Terry Dunlap. That's on an episode from about 2 months ago, and I highly recommend you checking it out. He got all his stuff from this podcast, so stay listening, okay? Today I'll be talking to Dan Faggella. Now, Dan is a friend of mine. I met him through a friend of a friend, as you do, and Dan is just a boss, okay? 2 years ago, we were chatting on a membership community that we're both a member of, and he was just getting started. He was into wrestling, and he was just getting his business going, and he trying to get the hang of the marketing stuff and sales funnels and emails and all that stuff. And in those 2 years, he has gone to town on the entire marketplace. He has completely blitzed it. Right? He's gone from nothing to doing $30,000, $40,000 a month. And the engine of this business of his is email marketing. And that's why I brought him on the show today, because I want to talk to him about what he's doing with his emails. Okay? Traffic we don't get into in this one, but it's the email stuff, right? And that's why you're here. If you got traffic, if you got a product or a service, this is going to be really valuable. And this is going to be for business to business guys. This is for you if you're just a product guy. It's for anyone trying to use email. Okay, so there's two things here. You got the front end sequences. Basically, Dan's front end product is it's about a $50 a month program, and he's got some email marketing that funnels people towards those things. It's a very interesting strategy, and not one that I've heard of before. Now, then you have the back end. So once someone buys that, what happens next? How do they continue making money off them? And he's got some great ideas there. And so we're basically going to lay out. Dan is going to lay out his strategy blow by blow. So if you wanted to, you could take the entire model that Dan is using to make $30,000, $40,000 a month. Take that, roll it out in your own business, and it may sound complicated, but towards the end of this episode, I asked Dan, how do you do all this without getting overwhelmed, right? Because it will sound overwhelming, okay? That's just a warning. But like I said, I asked Dan, how does he do it without feeling overwhelmed? And he's got a very simple solution that really made me laugh when he told me. So stick around for that. To get the show notes for this episode of the McMethod Email Marketing Podcast, go to themcmethod.com/62 for 62. Now, I've got two things. Number one, the McMasters Insight of the Week. McMasters is my paid community where you can go to learn more about email marketing and get some of the products and join the forum, all that sort of lovely, fun stuff when you make money. Anyway, this week's insight is this. After reading your article on why ebooks suck, I'm wondering if I should change the venue for my product delivery. So this was from a McMasters member named Joy. Now, Joy is currently selling an ebook, and she's doing quite well with the ebook, making regular sales, but she's wondering, maybe after reading this article on why ebooks suck, she's wondering if maybe I should change that ebook into a video course or something like that, okay? And it's a great question, right? Now, there's a couple answers to this, and this is really where the insight comes into it. Okay, so let's say you've got an ebook out there and you're selling it for $100, right? Should you change that to video just because ebooks are kind of lame and videos are better? The answer is probably not. And this is what I said to Joy: is that just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea to do it, right? There are a million things. Right now, I have Evernote open. I have probably tens of thousands of items, little tasks that I could do on my website, in my business, with people, partnerships, products, so much stuff. And I used to stress about it, but then I realized that it doesn't actually matter. Most of that stuff doesn't matter at all. Within those tens of thousands of different tasks and ideas and business ideas and just everything, there's going to be a couple things, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 or 10 things that are really going to matter. And if I can identify those leverage points, I can come down with an explosive kind of impact, okay, on those points, and I will get incredible results out of all proportion to the time and effort that I have to spend. So in Joy's case, this is like saying, yeah, you could take your ebook and make it a video course, but is it really going to help? Probably not. That's one of those things that, yeah, it'll keep you busy and maybe you make a few more sales. I don't really know, right? It's not going to make a very big impact. To me, a better way to do this would be go, your ebook's good. If people are buying it at, I think it was $77, great, okay? That's proven, that's working. Now the next step is like, you need to build out that product line. So if you've got an ebook that's selling for $77, well, these people would probably buy something for $300 to $500, but it would be videos instead, right? So you can say, okay, so you've got the ebook here, and the upsell when they click the add to cart button is you have a little thing that says, all right, before you go through this, I just wanted to let you know that we have a premium version or a platinum version of this program. Instead of the ebook, you can get the full video program. That gives you access to the ebook and 8 video modules with worksheets and whatever, okay? You just dress it up, and they're going to be paying $300 to $500. And if you just put that on there, you're going to bump your average sale from 77 to, once you even it out, I do it $200, $300, because a lot of people prefer video. Some people prefer books, okay? So this is a great way to make more money, and that's one of those changes. It's, if you can identify and do it, that will make a big difference in the business, especially if you can bump that lifetime customer value. I've mentioned this before, and then Joy goes out and does paid traffic. She's going to be making 2 times or 3 times as much every time she makes a sale, which makes paid traffic far more worthwhile, okay? So the insight here, and it's not about the ebooks or the videos or anything, the insight here is that in your business, in all the things that you have on your to-do list that you're stressing about, and you're like, I got to listen to John's podcast, I got to reply to those emails, I've got to get this client project done, I've got to get this done and that done and this done, and you're stressing about it. And the thing is, you got to step back and realize that there's only a couple of things on that list that actually matter. The rest, you can probably just forget about. Delete, get rid of. Maybe that means this podcast. Maybe that means not listening to this podcast. Maybe email marketing isn't the main issue in your business, and that's okay. You can come back to it later. Your goal as the business owner, as the entrepreneur, is to focus on those small steps, those small, tiny little leverage points that if you hit with the hammer, they will just bring down the entire wall, and you're going to be fabulously successful and wealthy. Okay? That's it for this week's McMaster's Insider of the Week. If you want to get into McMaster's and sign up so you can get direct access to me, join the other members, and get access to the McIntyre Method. That's my video training program for how to write an autoresponder. It's 4 modules, 4 weeks, and you have a 10 email autoresponder sequences. How to write stories that sell via email. You've got pages that convert, which is all about how to create great landing pages. All that is at themcmethod.com/McMasters. Now, the only other thing is reviews. If you're getting a lot out of this show, and I've heard from a lot of people, and people are getting a lot out of it, and I'd love it if you can, you'd really be doing me a huge favor if you can jump over to iTunes and search for the McMethod Email Marketing Podcast and follow the prompts, a little bit clunky, and leave me a review. Tell me what you think about the show. You will really make my day. It's the reviews make a lot of this stuff worthwhile when you hear about how it's helping people, how it's changing their business, and ultimately changing their life. So I'd love it if you could do that for me. But that's enough of that. Let's get into this interview today. I think it's going to be a great one. So I want to have a pen and paper because this is a doozy. Okay, get ready. Let's go talk to Dan Faggella. It's John McIntyre here, the autoresponder guy. I'm here with Dan Faggella. Now, I was introduced to Dan via a friend of mine, a guy who I used to live with here in Thailand, and it was very interested to, wanted to chat with him, talk about his marketing, actually bring him on the podcast, because he's doing some fascinating stuff with not just email marketing, but that's one of the core components of their business, but with the whole sales funnel process, some paid traffic stuff, and really bringing it together and doing a great business in a tiny, tiny market, which, as he'll tell you, it's about choking someone. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But the reason I brought him on today is we're going to talk about some of the email marketing stuff he's doing, because they're using emails to get people into a continuity program, and they're doing some really kind of ninja stuff on the back end that I'm really curious to kind of dig into. I haven't talked too much about this on the podcast, so this is getting a bit more advanced. This is more for people with established businesses and who want to step things up a notch and really clean up. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Dan, how you doing, man?
Doing great, John. Good to be here, brother.
Man, really good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
So before we get into the nitty gritty of this email stuff, man, I know a little bit about you, and I've kind of tried to give the listener a bit of a background, but you'll be much better for this. So give the listener basically a story, man. Who's Dan? Yeah, what does he do?
Sure, man. Yeah. So you know me through Mr. Ed Lowell, of course. But yeah, my name's Dan Faggella. I'm a martial arts guy originally. So a lot of people have seen the UFC or mixed martial arts. Really, that was my first passion. So I started basically a fight club in the back of a carpet store when I was an undergrad in college, just because fighting is more fun than anything else, right? It's the most fun thing to do. So I ended up getting into University of Pennsylvania for graduate school in skill development and for my master's. And I realized in order to pay for the Ivy Leagues, I was going to have to make some money. So I turned that fight house into a martial arts gym, which I later sold when I moved to Boston. But before I moved to Boston, I decided I moved to Boston essentially to do consulting and eventually get into investing, which is where we'll hopefully be once we flip some business stuff. Before I moved to Boston, I said, I'm going to need a business that can come with me. So we turned all these martial arts techniques in the course of about 12 months all this stuff that we're teaching in the gym on a day-to-day basis in a town of only about 8,000 people, we turned into a list of about 20,000 people, and a 30-something $1,000 a month business teaching martial arts online in about 12, 14 months, something like that. So that was my transition online, and now we run a consultancy where we do database marketing and email marketing strategy and implementation for startup companies and internet marketing folks and whatever else. So that's a little bit of my funky trajectory into this business world.
And as we were saying before the call, man, we're both on a membership site called the DC, or the Dynamite Circle. And I remember we talked about, none of us can remember it, but we messaged back and forth a little while back, and it was 1 or 2 years ago, and you said you were just getting started, but now you've kind of just blitzed this entire thing, man. It's been fantastic to see.
Yeah, I mean, I always think there's a lot more room to grow. I'm ultimately not about it for the internet marketing game. I'm about cashing out on this thing and investing in augmented reality companies and scaling a consultancy and doing go public related things more so than lifestyle business type things. So I have much larger aims, but I had to. We had to work with what we had, and the internet marketing was sort of one of the paths. So yeah, luckily it picked up, right? So I had to get really good at email marketing, because when you're in a town of 8,000 people, John, as you can imagine, you run out of human leads actually very quickly. And when you can run out of humans, that's really dangerous. So we had to make sure that all of our leads were maximally transferred to appointments, and that anybody who didn't join up would be rotated with various offers, and then we could really keep the hook sunk in anybody that came in the door. Now, when I scaled that to an online niche, not just an 8,000 person local area, that ended up being, I think, the key to our success. And now it's really those neurotic small town habits that I had to learn and get really nerdy about and spend a lot of money on other consultants to learn how to really master, that have now kind of helped make the transfer. So yeah, it's been a fun jump.
Cool, man. Let's dive in here. Let's talk about this email marketing on the front end. You talked about you've got some great email autoresponders on the front that are taking your leads and getting them to sign up to your continuity programs, paying $37, $57 a month. And then that's the front end. So I mean, doing a continuity sale, that's quite hard. From a lot of people, a lot of people talk about it being one of the hardest sales you can make, because who wants to pay $50 every single month after month after month with no end in sight? So it's a hard sale. So how are you doing it, man?
It is, yeah. So there's a lot of ways we can slice it. And to be honest, when it started, it really wasn't all that sophisticated. And I'm actually spending, again, I'm really big on investing in myself. So I've probably spent about, not counting grad school, because that would just be an entirely different story, and not counting MIT, where I'm now taking classes at the Sloan Business School. But probably about a little bit more than 80 grand in the last 24 months. So I'm working with some pretty high level continuity guys now in terms of refining the process that's in place. But I'll give you the basic rundown, John. Essentially, first things first. If you want to get anybody to pay for anything, never mind pay for anything every month, you better have some halfway decent positioning and a reason for them to buy your stuff. And this as a marketing guy, and you're a copywriting guy, and you already understand, and many of your readers will as well. But I'll give you the example that we've taken. So basically, I'm a small guy. I walk around at about 128 pounds or so, and I did a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments against guys that were much bigger than me, and a lot of my earlier YouTube videos that kind of caught on were just random tournament clips of me fighting some guy twice my size or something, and twisting his leg, or getting a choke or something cool like that. So the position that we took was really the art and science of beating a bigger and stronger opponent. So if you're a smaller person, a weaker person, how you can still win in jiu-jitsu. And the good news is, there's a lot of people that message resonates with, even if they don't weigh 128 pounds. And that is really where we decided to hone in. So, John, what I did to build a continuity program was I not only really, number one, I ended up getting a master's in the Ivy Leagues in skill development. So I really studied that process and how to get good fast, how to improve specific skills. I needed to use that on myself because I'm in a town of 8,000 people, for crying out loud. But convey that in the membership site. So it was a little bit of a selling point. But more importantly, I analyzed a ton of very specific kind of lightweight matches. I interviewed all the best world champions at the lighter weights, or at least many of them, a vast number of them, top level black belts who are small guys. And I really extracted their secrets for goal setting, for tactics, for strategy, for skill development, whatever it was, right? And so the positioning was, this is really the place to get the full-blown analysis, tapping into world champions, and understanding the art and science of skill development at a very high level for beating bigger, stronger opponents. So positioning was the only reason that we were able to really get the credit cards out on a consistent basis, in my opinion. That's what even allowed people to consider buying from us rather than just watching YouTube videos.
I love what's going on here in that it's not about the copy, it's not about the autoresponders, it's not about any of the technical or the tactical stuff that's going on here. It starts with this strategy of basically, as Gary Halbert says, going and finding a starving crowd and giving them what they want. You've got that starving crowd right there.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, John, it seems like a niche within a niche, but it's actually really not. So I think it was great. I think it was, and I'm not going to give myself credit because I didn't think it through this far, but looking at it retrospectively, it was good because the people who buy in this niche, now granted, now we're in a bunch of other niches. So we're working with, everything from software companies to, people that sell 1-800 numbers to thousands of businesses to, chains of physical therapy clinics. But in the martial arts niche, this whole thing of beating bigger, stronger people, the buyers in that niche are all, 40-something-year-old guys. They're people with disposable income. We're not selling to 22-year-old kids. A, they know how to illegally download things, and they could probably find my stuff and, download it without paying for it. B, they don't have the disposable income, and if they did, they'd probably spend it on beer or girls or something like that, and that's perfectly fine. So it's 40-something-year-old dudes. 40-something-year-old dudes are very rarely are they the most athletic, strongest guys in the gym. They do feel like they have a little bit of a disadvantage to these 22-year-old guys straight out of college with 4 years of rugby under their belt who are just like mopping the floor with them because they're kind of older and they work a desk job. So, but it's the desk job guys that ultimately are the buyers. So it seems like a niche, but really anybody with a credit card in that entire space kind of fits that category. So that positioning, oddly enough, it seems like a this is for me, right? Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, like they read it and it's like this is for me. But ultimately, anybody that's really a buyer who isn't like a natural athlete that doesn't have disposable income anyway, they sort of resonate with my messaging as kind of the underdog dude, the smaller guy against bigger, more athletic beasts, and anybody who's a buyer already feels that way. So that positioning is the starving crowd that we talked about, John. The second aspect of really selling these membership sites, and this has been replicated in a million other places since, and we have a lot of variations of it, but is these kind of splintered front end programs that drive towards the same continuity program. So get this, right? If you're watching my YouTube videos about, let's say, leg locks, and you opt in, and underneath that YouTube video is a link where you can opt in for a video about, now you guess, John, what do you think the video's about?
Leg locks.
Yeah, man, it's about leg locks, for crying out loud. Because if you just watch a YouTube video about leg locks, I'm probably going to get you to opt in for leg locks if you really liked it. So we'll have them opt in. And then once they opt in, they're going to get consistent messaging about, you guessed it. And then we're going to present a membership program about, you guessed it. So a lot of the other aspect of it is what we're called kind of contextual parsing. So contextual parsing for me, and there's a bunch of ways that we can do this, but contextual parsing is, based on where you come from, based on where you found out about me, where you gave me your information, I already know blank about you. And one of the things, if you came in from one of my YouTube leg lock videos, I know you like watching leg locks. So I'm going to get you to opt in for a free course about that. And then I'm going to sell you on that. So all I know is your email address, but I also know your lead source and that it's from a leg lock video. So you are a consumer of leg lock videos, which means your likelihood of potentially buying that is way higher than a guy who I don't know him from Adam. So we use contextual parsing to determine our offers and to drive towards a core continuity program. So I might have, 7 different ebooks, John, that all kick off a couple different, the initial front end emails are quite different. And then it'll go into, they'll all merge into like this core main funnel that'll all push this core continuity program. Yep. So you might read an article about guard passing. You opt in for an ebook about guard passing, and now all of a sudden we talk about guard passing for bigger and stronger people, and then bam, we're right on the train for the continuity program for beating bigger, stronger opponents. You opt in for escaping against bigger, stronger opponents. You get a couple emails about that. And then, bada bing, you're right on the train for the same continuity program. So we splinter the front end to appeal to any blog post, any video, anything people find. There's something very specific for them. We merge that benefit into the core benefit of beating bigger, stronger opponents, and then we sell to that core membership site. So you don't have to type in beat bigger guys in grappling to find me. You type in anything in jiu-jitsu. I got 700 blog posts out there. I'm going to find you. And as soon as you opt in, we're going to convert that desire into something that relates to a program that we offer. And we're going to give away some great free stuff and present our offers. And that's how we built, the list we have. And that's been a really big key for getting as many people as we have into membership programs.
Interesting. Okay. So what I'm seeing here is you've got several different funnels for the various different pain points in that market, or the main things people are paying attention to.
Yes.
And then you've got several emails. Someone signs up, gets a specific ebook on that topic, whether it's leg locks or guard passing or anything like that. Yep. Then they get a few emails. How many emails are they getting on that specific topic?
Yeah. Right now for guard passing, for example, I think you get 2 or 3 of them. And there's a couple other, there's like throws, like takedowns. I think I have 1 course on takedowns. It's like really limited. I'm not a takedown guy. But here's the thing, man. People are Googling takedowns, for crying out loud. So I'm not going to deny them of that kind of an ebook and that kind of a download. So they'll get 2 or 3 emails about that, but then they go onto the same train tracks as everybody else, with a nice, like we ease them into it. Like we're like, hey, like we start talking about how takedowns relate to beating bigger guys. We show some competition videos that relate to that, and then we kind of drop them into the right place on the sequence that's going to ultimately kind of get them towards beating bigger, stronger opponents. So we have it's essentially, it's called like a splintered front end. So we're selling the same thing, and oftentimes it's with a similar sequence, but we're splintering the front end widget, the freebie, and we're splintering a couple front end messagings in order to indoctrinate and to educate and to give people some great content about exactly what they care about, what they want to learn.
Okay, and then what? So let's say after that, they go through this splintered sequence, then they get dropped onto the main sequence. What happens there? Are you sending them daily emails, or do you have like a 5, 10 email sequence? What happens there? I'm really interested.
Yeah, man. They essentially end up on more like a 36 email sequence, and for the most part, it's like every day or every other day. Yep. So we do go pretty hard in this niche. To be honest, I haven't even tested, emailing them every 3 days. I've just decided to email them every day. And people that aren't into it obviously will jump off the boat pretty quickly. But people that are, and we have over 20,000 people that are, right? So if it really sucked, super hard, I imagine we wouldn't be making any money. And nobody would be paying attention to our stuff anymore, and we wouldn't be coming close to a 30,000 person list, and none of those things would happen if the content was bad and people didn't like it. So we email them, on a daily basis for 24, 30, 36 days. And essentially in that sequence, John, we go through what I refer to as a roller coaster of kind of offer intensity. So let me take a step back and talk about what I'm talking about. Basically, any autoresponder sequence. Now, we could get more complex than this, but this isn't like an 8-hour podcast, so we'll go pretty simple. Is any autoresponder sequence, basically, if you're gonna have to make it only 3 components, and we could make it 30. If you're gonna make it 3, we're really talking about education, testimonials, and calls to action, basically. So education, testimonials, calls to action. If you have a good mix, like if you think about it as like vegetables, starches, and proteins in like your diet, like you kind of want like a decent mix in your emails as well. So what we do initially is we go with a lot of great education. And honestly, when I wrote a lot of these sequences, we didn't even have testimonials. Now I have pages and pages and pages and pages of them. But when I wrote a lot of these sequences, we didn't even have them. Although we do integrate a decent number of them. But yeah, so we educate them, and we include testimonials. We include relevant testimonials, and then we'll kind of come to a head maybe around email 5 or 6, like 5, 6, 7, 8, where we're really presenting one offer rather strongly. So we're presenting, let's say, a free DVD that we're going to mail to their house just for the price of shipping, plus a 14-day free trial of a membership program, and a whole bunch of other cool video bonuses that we know they're going to like. And we'll present all those things for 4 days really strong. But if people don't get in on it, what most people do, John, is they'll be like, we missed that guy, damn it. And then that autoresponder sequence will end, and then they'll just wait for another lead. Instead of doing that, what we do is we go back through the roller coaster. So the intensity of the offer drops, but we still keep up a bunch of great education and testimonial content to keep people engaged, to keep people believing, to teach them awesome stuff, and to continue to fill their inbox with things that are relevant to what they came to us for. And then maybe 12, 13, 14, 15, we kind of come up to a head again. And this is a different offer. So this is a different bunch of downloadable bonuses. And maybe it's the same membership program, but there's a bunch of different free ebooks and maybe a drilling guide that comes along with it. It's a totally different looking sales page. It's a different offer. offer. It's a different call to action. And then if they don't buy from that, John, as you can imagine, we drop them back into the sequence, and then I probably don't have to tell you what happens after that. So we like to do at least three rolls up the roller coaster before they get off the train. And then if they buy from any of those roller coasters, they then get kicked into a tier 2 sequence where we aim to present them with a program that has a higher price point, such as $97 or $127. So we essentially, when they get onto the main track, it's not like we don't take one swing and then go sit on the bench. We give them a bunch of great stuff, and we take a bunch of swings, John. And it's not swings at the same exact sales page, because when you say no to a sales page, I'm not going to throw your eyeballs on that same sales page over and over. I'm going to throw your eyeballs on a different, fun, illustrious, different angle, different hook, different color scheme, different headline, different way of presenting the benefits. And I'm going to find a way to get that credit card out, because that's the business I'm in. And now that's what people pay us to do for their businesses. But, in our business, in order to eat food, in order to move to Cambridge, in order to, potentially sell this thing and invest in augmented reality companies, which is, what I'm really here to do, we got to get the cards out. And in order to get the cards out, we got to try much harder than most people do. And I highly recommend that kind of roller coaster, more persistent approach. So that's a huge factor for our success in this niche.
I love it, Dan. So one thing that I think that I really want to mention is I remember speaking to a friend of mine here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It was a couple of weeks ago. We were speaking about emails, and he told a story about a friend of his, Armin Morin, which is I hadn't heard of him at the time, but he's an old school internet marketer. And he's famous for saying something along the lines of, you stop sending them emails when they stop opening them. And
yeah.
Because most people will write a sequence, and it's usually 5 emails or 10 emails. That's what people pay us to create, is say a 10 email sequence. But really, in an ideal world, you never stop sending them emails until you've got 0% open rate, until no one cares. That's when you stop sending emails. But until you hit that point, those emails should keep going out.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's no reason for them not to. And then that takes us into the database marketing side of things. When the autoresponders do end, how do we still stay relevant? How do we still get the cards out? But yeah, I mean, you're completely right. And we all know the stories, right? And we all know the stats. The average sale, you have to ask for the sale X number of times. There's all these statistics, the studies at IBM and the top, the top 20% that produce 80% of the sales, what they really do is they just call the guy 50 times instead of calling him 3 times and saying he's not interested. So we're, Boeing, all these big companies, that have done, crunch numbers on their salespeople, just convert those same things to email. Yep. And it's not necessarily about being, Captain Hardcore, where it's just like, yeah, the more pitches you hit them with, I mean, to some extent you do have to kind of nut up and actually, present an offer. But in another sense, if you can stay relevant, if you can deliver things they care about, and if they say no to one thing, if you can find something else that's fun, that's appealing, that is something that they'd actually want, you're doing a better job for you and for them. And ultimately, I think that's why we're compensated for what we do. We have a wider array of programs, a wider array of offerings, way more written articles, way more interviews than anybody else. So we have content for days. And if people are into BJJ, they could learn from us forever. We got, I got dozens of world champions, that I've interviewed and magazines that we've written articles about this stuff in, and it goes on forever. So, we're delivering what people want. But just like you said, I mean, keep it coming, because if they're opening them, there's a chance you're going to get that card out.
That's exactly right. All right, man, let's talk about this back end then, right? So they've been through the front end. They've been through that splintered sequence. They've been through the main one. They've bought, right? So they're somewhere along that roller coaster, they've signed up, and they're in the program. What next?
Yeah. So eventually the autoresponders do end. And when the autoresponders end, inside of Infusionsoft, we tag them with the broadcast tag. Now, the broadcast tag means this person is no longer receiving autoresponder messages, and so we can now send them kind of rotating newslettery type messaging. Now, by newslettery type messaging, I mean this is when the autoresponder ends, these are the messages that we'll send out on a weekly basis that we'll kind of schedule out. So basically, any given week, and now this is going to be different niche by niche, but our space actually is pretty accepting of frequent emails. If you sell if you sell face cream, you really can't probably make face cream exciting every day. I mean, maybe there's a way, right? Like there's probably
gotta be a way, man.
like beauty tips and whatever. But it's a little bit more creative like you'd have to make it something other than the cream itself. You understand what I mean? You'd have to find like related, like, yeah, the stories and the, like beauty tips and like other stuff. For me, actually, John, I think we're fortunate in this niche because it's sort of easy, because if you're interested in BJJ videos, I can literally send you BJJ videos every day and you'll like it. If you're interested in face cream, I can't send you like pure, like it can't be about like the product over and over and over. It has to be about like related stuff. But all my related stuff is really kind of the same as like my paid stuff. So people are interested in just consuming pretty much exactly what they're ultimately going to pay for. It's not like tips for sports that like we sort of hint at jiu-jitsu. We're straight sending frickin' jiu-jitsu videos every day, man. So we rotate. What we do is in any given week, now in any given month, so now everybody will do this differently, and I'm going to be talking, I'm going to be spending, relatively, for the fact that it's only going to be 120 minutes, a borderline exorbitant amount of money to talk to a very smart guy about this and potentially change up some of our database marketing tenets. But right now, this is, it's working rather well, and I happen to think we're doing it significantly better than anybody else, certainly in this niche. Is any given month we create a 3 to 4 email sequence just for the people that have spent $100 or more in the last 60 days. We also create a unique 3 or 4 email sequence just for the people that have never bought. And we speak to those groups explicitly, and we call them out for their condition, and we address them for that condition, and we aim to move them to the next level. So people that have bought, $100 or more, we recognize that, they are investing in their, development as jiu-jitsu athletes. We talk about that explicitly. We talk about why, we recognize that, and that's why they're getting this special offer. The people that have never bought, we'll talk about, how we know they haven't bought and how they've gotten a lot of emails and how we're going to have this crazy guarantee and why we're giving away this stuff this month. And, here's a bunch of testimonials and from people that, finally got in on one of our programs and really changed their game, something like that. So every month we'll create offers like that. But on a weekly basis, I'll create as many as, 7, 8, 9 individual messages that'll go out to, usually about 2 of them will go to everybody. So 2 of them will sort of be just sort of sent to the list, but I will normally break the list up. So it won't be sent to everybody. I'll send it like per lead source. So I'll send it to buyers and then non-buyers. So I'll still break things up because I like to address people more individually than quote unquote blast emails. But to give you an example from this list, John, I sent out an affiliate offer for an injury prevention product to all the people that have selected injury prevention as an area of interest. I also sent out a blog post that I'm looking to really build its clout online and its social kind of buzz online and get it to rank online. I send it to all my guys who are over 40. Makes sense, right? And then I'm also going to have a higher ticket offer that we're going to send out this week, which is going to be a 3 email sequence all about guard passing. And it's going to be a $100 offer, and it's going to be sent to people that have spent at least $100 in the last 60 days, and we're going to address them specifically. So in any given week, we pick subsegs based on interest, lead source, activity, purchasing history, and things like that, and we'll present an array of offers, content, education, testimonials to those relevant groups, so that to the tune of 1.2 emails going out per day to these various, rotating in these various subsegs, in order to consistently give people messages, John, that say, this is for me, this is for me, this is for me. So if you're on my list, you will never stop getting messages that address you like by age, by interest, by what you've bought, by what lead source you came in. You will get hit with things that make you feel like this is for me forever until you stop opening my emails.
The one thing that I'm thinking, because I don't have anything this advanced set up in my own business at the moment, and I'm thinking that maybe the listener is going to be in a similar situation, and they're going to be thinking, look, this sounds great. I'm sold. Like, sign me up. Like, I know how to do it. I want to go out there and do this yesterday. However, it seems, right, the impression of it is that it seems like a complete nightmare to manage because there's about 1 billion things flying in, a million directions at once. Emails going to this person and that segment and this segment, and it's, how do you even manage something like this, man?
It's actually kind of easy. So I have a weekly checklist, which is, pick 3 subsegs, rotate 2 of your own offers and 1 affiliate offer. And the reason I send out affiliate offers is not because I need affiliate money. I have enough of my own programs, but it's essentially to maintain good relationships with people that send us traffic by selling a bunch of their stuff. And, there's very few ways to somebody's heart that's quicker than selling a bunch of their stuff on the internet. So 2 of our own, subsegs that are broken up into offer education sequences, 1 JV offer that's broken up to offer education sequences, 2 emails that will go to the whole list so that we don't miss anybody, even if for some reason we don't hit their subseg for a while. 2 emails that go out to the whole list. And then, so that's kind of like on a weekly level. And for the emails that go out to the whole list, I also have Get Response. So I use Get Response to send out those quote unquote, like kind of hit everybody emails. So in order to make sure delivery is high and we can get to everybody, we'll send out through Get Response oftentimes. And then on a monthly, like I have a couple things on a monthly. I have hit all the non-buyers with a specific non-buyer offer. Make sure we hit all the buyers at a certain level with a certain buyer offer, and then otherwise just keep up the weekly regimen. Okay, 2 emails to go to everybody. What offer do I want to test? What social thing do I want to share? Whatever the case may be. And then what are the 2 subsegs and products, and then the affiliate offer and product that I want to pitch. And then I construct my emails for the week, and I generally will write them on Sunday. I'll schedule them out. And then we'll count the money on, Monday morning, the next week or whatever, And then we just kind of repeat that process and make sure we rotate through all the subsects. So does it take a little bit to write the emails on Sunday? Sure does. But, at the end of the day, even if I didn't get any more leads, the fact that we could cruise well above 20 grand a month is kind of a cool thing in a niche that's pretty much for idiots. So no, really, though. I mean, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu niche is not like a business niche. I mean, I got into this because I had a bunch of trophies hanging on a wall from choking a bunch of guys. And, it's easy to sell. It's easier to sell expertise. And because I was doing jiu-jitsu all day in a martial arts gym that I was going to sell, we could film that and we could turn that into product. And, it wasn't like this wasn't my billionaire niche, right? So, it's kind of a silly nominal domain. But the fact that you can hyper monetize an existing list by a simple rotation schedule like that. And again, all I did was write it down one day. All right, two of our own subsegs and our own offers. 1 affiliate offer, 2 blasts that'll go to everybody, and then here's 2 things we'll do every month. Okay, see you later. Let's just keep running this algorithm, and that's essentially how we monetize the list. So in terms of managing it, it really ain't rocket science.
I don't know what to say, man. You're blowing me away here. This is just simple, straightforward, but it's badass.
Well, yeah, we're going for it, man. We're trying. But I really think, I'm a believer in this stuff, John. Like anytime I see a business where it's like, there's an existing list and we have all these data points, but it's sort of like, there's like this weekly or monthly blasé email that just goes out to everybody. It really, I think anybody that understands direct response gets that this makes sense. And it's just a matter of like, oh, if we just set a regimen and we run and gun and put our heads down for a month, we can count the money at the end of the month and see if it was worth our time. And 9 out of 10 times, unless you're really starting off with the wrong angle and you have no idea what your customer wants, and frankly, you're a bad marketer, this will work.
Fantastic. Okay, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for breaking this down, man. But
of course.
We're right on time here. Before we go, though, give the listeners might be a bit curious about where to check out some of this jiu-jitsu stuff, or I've heard you mentioning the agency stuff, man.
Yeah.
Where should people go if they want to learn more about what you do and maybe get in contact?
For sure. So if people want to learn, if people want to see our BJJ, just type in Dan Faggella grappling or something on YouTube. There's 8 million funky videos, and you can see what we're doing for lead gen, and you'll find 700-something blog posts out there in the world and whatever else. But yeah, for the folks that are interested in database marketing and email marketing, we're in Cambridge now in Boston, so we're working with a lot of very sharp companies up here, essentially implementing these systems into e-com, into service-based businesses, into even app companies that need engagement, because a lot of the tenets and principles are the same. And the website is CLV Boost. So John, customer lifetime value, very big metric, right? So we're all about kind of lifting that metric. And CLVBoost.com, we have a really basic breakdown white paper of a couple kind of plug-and-play strategies in both the automation and in the database marketing side. So if people just want like something to kind of chew on and give a shot for their own biz, or they want to give a shout out and yak it up with me, that's the place to go, CLVBoost.com. And then, that's about it for me, brother.
Fantastic, man. I'll have links to those in the show notes at themechmethod.com. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to discover more insider tips, tricks, and secrets about driving sales with email marketing, sign up for daily email tips from the autoresponder guy. Go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast, sign up, confirm your email address, and I'll send you daily emails on how to improve your email marketing and make more sales via email. You'll find out why open rates don't matter and the 7-letter word that underlies all effective marketing and much more.